YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel on the web for all things geeky and cool. And this video, guys, is another Funko review, but a Funko review with a little bit of a twist, something different we haven't yet reviewed because it's a brand new product. It's called the Pop Town series. Now, this is the Ghostbusters themed one, which have Peter Venkman already slimed up in the white Stay Puft Marshmallow slime that happened at the end of Ghostbusters 1, and the iconic Ghostbusters Firehouse, the building you see right here. That's what the whole Pop Town thing is, the whole series is all about. You get a normal sized pop and you get some type of iconic building. That's the sort of role they're trying to do, or the thematic approach they're taking for Funko. Now, there's currently 3 items that are going to be either released or will be released for the Pop Town wave. We have SpongeBob SquarePants with the Pineapple House, we have Peter Venkman with the Firehouse, and soon to release we have Scooby-Doo, which is a brand new sculpt with the Haunted Mansion, which I will absolutely get and I will absolutely do a review for because I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan. Now, this is again a brand new series. This is new ground for Funko. We haven't really seen this sort of idea or property really done, and it's a really cool idea, but I have a sort of twist I want to talk about in the breakdown segment. Speaking of breakdown, we're going to do a full breakdown of Pop Town number 3, the Peter Venkman and Firehouse. We'll do in the breakdown, we'll look at the packaging as a whole, we'll look at the paint articulation, and include final thoughts for you, the viewer. Should you spend the money and pick up Pop Town's number 3, Peter Venkman with Firehouse? Stay tuned, guys. We'll go into a breakdown. Alright, guys, we're in our breakdown segment looking at the Pop Town series number 3, Peter Venkman with Firehouse. Of course, there's 3 total in the wave right now. The Scooby-Doo with the Haunted Mansion is number 1, SpongeBob with the Pineapple House is number 2, and this makes the 3rd one in the series. I'm assuming they're going to make more of these down the line, as I talked about at the beginning of the video, but right now this is number 3 in the series. It looks really, really good. It's your standard Funko box sort of display, just a little bit bigger, a little bit more squat, and it has 2 items you can see in front right here. Of course, at the top you do see Pop Towns, which is the new logo, Dr. Peter Venkman with the Firehouse, number 3rd in the wave. Open box display, as I mentioned there. At the bottom, it does say Ghostbusters symbol right here, and it just has a symbol. It doesn't have anything else listed there. On this side here, you have a nice Pop Towns, number 3. At the bottom, nothing, of course. Over here, we have the Dr. Peter Venkman with the Firehouse, your typical Funko box side display. And on the back, we have all the characters that would be available in that particular wave. Now, you may notice this sort of green explosion. That's an insert that comes inside this box. It would look something like this right here. This is the insert, which is the explosion effect that you see right here and right here. If you removed all the characters, it's pretty much the idea they're going with. I believe this effect is because of when the containment unit exploded at near the end of the first Ghostbusters movie. That's the idea I think they're going with here, when it exploded and all the ghosts flew out. Now, if you notice here, there's a little Easter egg I'll talk about later in the video. You see a little bit of slime right here dangling down. I believe this had maybe something to do with where the containment unit would be placed, but looking it up on Wikipedia, it's further down. I believe it's in the attic, if I remember correctly. So I don't know why there'd be slime here as opposed to right here. In theory, I said this is a 3-story building. It's really 3 stories plus not the attic, the basement. I apologize. It would be 3 stories plus a basement below, because you might not see it right here, but there's another window below this piece of the cardboard. So let's get this guy out of packaging and continue the breakdown segment. Guys, we have the Peter Venkman slimed with white Stay Puft Marshmallow and the Firehouse for the Pop Town series number 3 out of packaging. And the very first thing we always do when we take Funkos out of packaging is look at the paint and presentation. I'm going to have 2 pieces here. I'll do them one at a time. We'll take this guy out of the shot and just concentrate really on the Peter Venkman. This is his, I believe, just a repaint, resculpt, but I could be wrong because I don't own any other Ghostbusters themselves. I like how it looks for Venkman. He looks a little bit bruised right here. He has a bruise right there on his head. This is the scene, of course, in question when Stay Puft was blown up at the end of the first Ghostbusters movie. That's why he has white marshmallow on top of his head, on his back here, kind of trickling into his eye. Looks very, very good. Very, very slim body, as you may or may not notice. I can try to get a good shot of it. I'm getting a little bit of shadow cast on it. I do apologize about that. He's in his overalls, little Ghostbusters logo right there on his shoulder. He does have the proton pack right there, and the wand sort of dangling right here from his hip. Does look really, really good. Now, articulation goes, head will spin 360 with no problems. It is not a bobblehead. It's all one solid piece. There's no bobble. It's all connected uniformly, which is no problem. problem. I like how it looks. He will stand, but he's a little bit back heavy. As you may or may not notice here, he does kind of lean back a tiny bit. I'll kind of put it back a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. He leans a little bit backwards because the amount of gear he has is a little bit heavy, and his sculpt for his hair, there's a lot of hair, so it kind of leans backwards. Maybe a little bit of hot water will kind of loosen it up a little bit to make him stand a little bit better. Of course, I have a very wobbly kind of stand right here by rotation table. So that could be part of the reason as well, but looks really, really good. Again, Peter Venkman slimed. I love the way he looks. Now, let's get the star of the show in here. This is, of course, the Ghostbusters Firehouse. Looks really, really cool. You may notice the flag right there. I'll kind of get a little side shot of it. It's not articulated. It is a little bit rubbery, but it does have the Ghostbusters logo right there. Now, one thing you may notice about this is about 5.5 inches tall. This right here for Peter Venkman is about 3.5 inches tall, standard size Funko Pop, and I'll talk about scale in a moment here. But if you notice on the Firehouse, it is 3 stories. So you have normal story here, you have second story window, and third story window. So this building is represented as a 3-story building. So keep that in your mind when we talk further into the breakdown segment. The back looks really, really cool, all brick designed. On the back, on this side, of course, same deal. Over here looks really, really cool. Nice little Easter egg, so to speak. You have a little bit of slime coming out over here. I'm only making the assumption maybe this is the room where the containment unit was for Ghostbusters. I'm making the assumption this is probably where it's housed, but I could be wrong in its placement. But I'm guessing that might be where it's at. If we look on the bottom here, there's nothing in particular. The doors in the front look really, really good as well. They're black doors with kind of a coppery color. Looks really, really cool, and they are double doors. So I like the way it looks. It doesn't even have a little chimney on the very top of this, and you could probably sit your Ghostbusters if you wanted to. I'll put it down lower so you can see it on the top of the Firehouse. So you could display some up here if you wanted to as well. It's a neat little idea. You could. It is a solid base, so it is displayable to put a figure on top here. I do apologize, I'm getting cut off from the top of the camera. But here's the thing that I want to talk about near the end of the breakdown segment here is I think Funko made a misstep here, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Is what I was talking about a second ago with the interpretation of scale. And if you look, this Firehouse is interpreting a 3-story building. Should be very, very tall. The Ghostbuster here, of course, Peter Venkman, is in a 3 and 3.5 inch scale, normal Funko size, pop size figure. It doesn't really fit the scale for the building. And I came up with a couple of alternatives that Funko could have maybe tried, but maybe they decided not to go this route. So my first option here would be to scale the building up, make the building bigger, put it to maybe a 10-inch scale. We've talked about 10-inch pops before. It's a very high price point item. You would increase the cost of this 2-pack here if you did both these figures. If you made this building here 10 inches in scale, the box would be bigger, the Firehouse would be bigger, and the cost would be much more. Probably I would think about the price point about $30 in my honest opinion. I think that would be a good idea that Funko could have done, maybe decided not to because of reasons of the cost. Or maybe they couldn't do it in that scale. I don't know. Or maybe they said, you know, we want to make it bigger, but they decided to curtail that and just do it in this scale, which is a possibility as well. Another thing they could have done is maybe not include this guy, but include, let's say, our guy Ash here, which is a pocket pop. You know, just don't look at the keychain. But now you have a pocket pop here in a scale, which would be very similar to the actual Ghostbusters building itself. I had to get it shot there. So if you look at it here, it would look like you go through the front doors. So it would fit scale much better than, of course, the Venkman here, which is much larger. So this would fix the scale issue if we did a pocket pop right there. So he could even walk through the front door. So the scale would have been fixed. The problem is you have a big old building here and a tiny little figure. And a price point for that might have been about $14.95. If that wouldn't have worked, they could have went $19.95 and did a mini mystery figure like the Jon Snow figure here. This one would be very similar in scale, as you see right there. He'd almost fit through the front doors. Again, it's an option they could have taken. Price point, if they would have went something like this, would have been maybe $19.95 because these guys are a little more, a little cheaper. These ones are a little more expensive. So that's an idea they could have done. Also, they could have done all 4 of this. They could have given us the Ghostbuster, Peter Venkman. They could have given us a mini mystery just for a sense of scale. And they could have given us a pocket pop as well, of course, minus the keychain. That would have taken care of all the scaling issues as well. You could have had these other Ghostbuster characters done in different scale sizes, or it could have even been the Peter Venkman slimed in just different scales as well. But that's an idea I was thinking of. They could have fixed this scale issue because, in my opinion, it is a problem. It just, to me, I don't know what it is. It just feels a little bit weird when you have a standard size pop. Won't even go through the front door here. Yes, I understand they scaled the building down to fit in Funko-esque theme and make it thematic, but I think they could have really taken it in a different angle. That's just my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Would have this worked, or would you made some smaller guys like one of these two as well? And with that being said, let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. Alright guys, final thoughts on the Pop Towns #3 Peter Venkman with Firehouse. I really like this new wave of pops they've come out with, the Pop Town series. I think it's completely different, something brand new we have not yet seen for Funko, and it's a very cool approach to take, with a really cool iconic character and a building, a thematic building for real world building purposes that Funko's trying to do here. I love the idea. The only thing I would say maybe is an improvement they could have done is maybe scale the up higher, meaning go to a 10-inch scale for a building. The only problem doing that, you would increase the cost to about $30, and it'd be a bigger box, bigger packaging, bigger place you have to put it in if you went in that approach. Mainly from the perspective of scale, meaning the normal size pop you see here, which is about a 3.5 inch pop with a 5-inch building, 5.5-inch building, really doesn't fit scale-wise together. That's the whole point I'm talking about in the breakdown segment, was the thing about the scale, which I think they can improve upon. Maybe even scaling down the pop here might be an idea, going to either the minifigure or the pocket pop size figure could be approached as well, and that'd have a different price point accordingly if you scaled it up or down. That's the whole idea I'm talking about here, is the idea and the principles of scale, because it really throws your eye off. And I think maybe Funko thought about that and decided not to go that road and go with the standard traditional pop and the really cool iconic building, in this case the Firehouse. So I really hope you like this Pop Town brand new item series that Funko debuted, #3 in the wave. Remember to click that like button, always click subscribe with a picture of my face. When you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to be notified of my latest videos. Of course, last but not least, you can click Windows over here to watch more of my content. Take care guys, and see you next video, and bye bye.